Hello, beautiful alchemist. Welcome to the energy of the month for April 2026. This is, at the very least, I guess we could say, an interesting year. The energies have been strange and loud and different and accelerating. And we are all just trying to figure out how to navigate and balance and work in and through all of these shifts and changes that are happening in our lives, both collectively and personally. So, as we do every month, we will look at the energy of the month based on the uh, essence that we are experiencing from the placement of the sun. So the sun at the start of April is in Aries. We are in Aries season. So we'll talk a bit about that energy. Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. We'll talk a bit about that energy. And we will also talk about the Oracle of the month from the Energetic Alchemist Oracle deck, which is the architect who is the counterpart to last month's teacher, who is the breathing goddess. So we will get into all of that. I just want to say get comfortable, open your mind, notice what really resonates with you, what speaks to you, what aha moments you have. Some people I know listen to these and they take notes along the way because it will inspire your own clarity or your own questioning. And again, it's all meant to help us navigate the way forward just with more understanding. So let's dive in. Okay, so first off, like I said, April is Aries season at the very start, anyway. But what we came out of was Pisces season. So Pisces is the end of the zodiacal wheel. It's the end of the cycle of constellations and the way that we work through them, so to speak. And Pisces is that energy where there's a lot of dissolving, supporting us into almost melting into a stage of release, dissolution, allowing ourselves to go so far beyond the analytical and really starting to hone in with what it is that we feel and we sense that we can't always articulate, but we get to experience a bit of that knowing that we always hear about. Now, when we are in the alchemy circle, we talk about this a lot, actually. And there's a difference between knowing and thinking. And this isn't the kind of knowing where you're just being stubborn and think you're right about something and refuse to have openness of mind. This is where we're in those states again, where we're not trying to overanalyze, we're not trying to figure out, we're not trying to think, but rather we have cultivated such a stillness that we allow an awareness that allows us to perceive and know and understand what it is that we are perceiving. And there isn't always necessarily language to translate what is understood and what we come to know. This is the type of knowing that comes in through experience. It's the kind of knowing, again, that can't always be articulated, but it is felt. So, this brings into mind, and I just want to share with you. I believe I've mentioned this in the Energy of the Month videos this year, but frequency has been at the forefront of what it is we're studying, again, in the alchemy circle. But it's a very important message, I believe, for all of us. We're in a time where energies are breaking down. Old systems are breaking down. Old ways of are breaking down. And again, a lot of us may have felt that, not just collectively, but personally, even in Pisces season, like what is falling away? What is dissolving that no longer fits, or that you're starting to question, that just isn't in tune with you anymore at a level of frequency that you are developing? Now, moving into Aries, there's going to be this embodiment then of what you have made room for. So, where in Pisces season, there may have been a lot of dissolving, a lot of allowing ourselves to merge more fully with whatever your idea is of spirit, of source, of universal intelligence, of all there is. Now comes the embodiment piece, the embodiment that allows us to re-identify and know ourselves differently. Now, I will say, if you are on the app, the Energetic Alchemist app, you can download the app, create an account for free, and you get access to all kinds of content. But if you're a member on the app, you get access to more content. And I'm bringing that up because this astrological piece is, I go into more depth around on the app in a series called the Whiteboard series. So if you download the app and if you opt in as a member on the app, then you get access to the Whiteboard series. And I go in more depth around this journey that we all take through the constellations. But where we are now, I want you to think of this month as like an invitation into the embodiment of what is new. Now, last month and this year, I've been saying what is for us is going to become very evident. What's for you and what's not for you. So you may have already been experiencing and feeling that this year so far, becoming more clear, more aware of what feels aligned to you, what you're feeling inspired to do, what you're feeling called towards, what you're feeling drawn into, what you want to study, what you want to complete, what you want to give more time, focus, and energy towards what matters to you. All of this is being amplified. It's like this simultaneous dance of building and destroying what is falling away and what's being provided at the same time. What we're walking out of and what we're building into at the same time. So this season, though, with Aries is like the audacity to embody what is being offered as new. So before I go too deep into this, I really want you to take a moment and consider what has been falling away. Have you been noticing shifts and changes within you, within your mind, within your energy, within your emotion, within your direction of mind, what you're prioritizing? What has been changing for you? Some of these things you may have been talking about. You may have very well articulated it. Some of these things you've just been holding on in your awareness, kind of just witnessing the way that things are starting to shift and change for you. But no matter what it is, just giving yourself an opportunity to acknowledge where and what area of your life is this happening. Where are you feeling a little bit of discomfort? Where are you feeling a bit of a rub? Where can you tell that the universe is asking you to change in some way for your own benefit? Even if it's something that may make you uncomfortable, even if it's something you don't necessarily like or want to do, where do you know you're being asked to up level, to do things differently? Just take note of it, a mental note, or write it down. But this is a time to be very honest with you because, again, moving now into Aries season, you're being invited to embody what is new and now play in that for a bit, right? So as we evolve and we shift and change, I want to put this in the context of those of you who are Reiki practitioners, okay? So a lot of you are familiar with Reiki attunements. And even in your first Reiki class, you'll receive a Reiki attunement. And a lot of people experience this exposure to a higher frequency of energy in, a multitude of ways. So some people have an attunement and they may have an experience of seeing, feeling, sensing energies in a very palpable way. Some people will have an attunement and not necessarily, not necessarily see or feel or have all these different sensations during the attunement, but some people will say afterwards, perhaps they feel a little tired, or over the next few days, they just can tell that there's something different about them. A lot of people, all of a sudden, the ability to sense energy becomes more palpable, right? So there's a lot of different ways that we have evidence of what it's like to not just be awakened to a new level or frequency of energy that is available to all, but then we have to acclimate to it. We have to get used to it. And so that's what that process is that we talk about after the attunements. It's a getting used to, a acclimating to, now functioning in a higher level of frequency than you had prior. And then at some point, you may get used to that. But in the process, hopefully, you keep practicing the techniques within the system so that you can continue to cultivate, build, and continue to lift in frequency and awareness, right? This is happening to us in a different way, okay? So, a Reiki attunement is a very intentional act. It is something, there's a lot of intention behind it. Life in of itself, we are constantly attuning to different energies. You're attuning to different energies throughout every single day of your life. You could wake up in one particular energy, and then you encounter other people, or you encounter the day, you encounter circumstances, and you start attuning to other frequencies or other energies. And so it goes until you become so self-aware that you self-regulate and you manage your own energy no matter what you encounter. And that's another story for another day. This energy collectively, what is happening is like a major, like a collective attunement of sorts. You could think of that's what we have been going through. And so we've seen and we've been feeling the different remnants of healing in this process, which include the awakening, the feeling and sensing a difference in the way that we perceive, the way that we feel, the way that we sense, the way that we know, having a difference in awareness. On top of that, witnessing a collective dark night of the soul. On top of that, there's just all the components that you hear about within healing that we are all being initiated in and through. Now, here's the thing. These energies that we're being met with on a collective scale are meeting us where we are. So all of us are at different points in our paths and our journeys. Not only that, we all interact with energy differently. So some of us may come into this initiatory type of energy and go into resistance. And that will look like what it looks like. Some of us will come into this initiation of energy and be willing and curious to develop and learn and evolve through it. And that will look like many different things. So I say all this to say, we're all in the thick of it. That's just it. It's so. Now, where we are and how we're in relationship to it all is independent of us each. It's individual to us each. But nonetheless, this initiation, this energy that we are going to experience as a new type of embodiment as part of the awakening process, Aries is inviting us to be bold into accepting the new. Aries energy is saying it's like this childlike wonderment that just has the gall to say, like, yeah, here I am, and I'm going to explore as I am. So again, I want you to consider that and where you stand in your life right now. Where, again, are you being invited to up level, to do things differently? But where can you also recognize there may be an invitation, an asking of you to have the audacity to be more bold in your authenticity? In your authenticity. What is becoming loud for you? What matters to you? And are you comfortable in that? What would it take for you to be able to express more fully your passion, what matters, your inspiration, your goals, your dreams, your desires? That's what Aries is asking. Now, I do want to say, just as a caveat and disclaimer, although I talk a lot about Reiki and energy work and energetic arts, this is, this has become my my course of study. This is what I teach. It's what I live. It's what I practice. But even though I translate all of this in that language, it's just because I know a lot of people who listen to what I share are also practicing things and are speaking the same language. But I hope that you also know, and it's very clear through everything that I share, it's not limited to this work. And this work is not separate from regular life, so to speak. So I just want to emphasize what I'm saying doesn't mean that you're going to have this personal experience of all of a sudden wanting to become a Reiki practitioner or all of a sudden wanting to become a tarot reader. This could very well speak to you in that you want to go back into some form of study or education that you've already been, you know, feeling curious about or inspired by. This could be, someone who works in the corporate realm and wants to or is inspired to climb up the corporate ladder. This speaks to all of us. And as I say again, where it meets us personally, and there is no inspiration, there is no authentic alignment that is better than the other. They're all unique to us and what our souls wanted to learn this time and what we wanted to learn through this time. Okay. So, and I have to say, Aries energy, not only is it full of audacity and asking us to be bold, it can move quick. It can move really quick, this energy. I mean, this year alone is moving very fast. But I also want to point that out because we tend to have I want to say, kind of a disturbing relationship with time. We often feel we don't have enough time, or time is running out, or time is moving too fast, or time is moving too slow. And I want to point that out because that can cause us to feel overwhelmed with, will I have enough time to do all the things I feel passionate about? Will I have the time to do the things that, whatever it is that's sparking in your mind right now? Like, Yolanda, I don't have the time. Where do I make the time? What if, you know, you hear time is an illusion. Yeah, but I don't want to go that route. Really, what I want to say is if you back up a bit and come out of your story around time, come out of the piece where we feel like we're being chased by time or we're chasing after it. It is all story and conditioning that we have attached feeling to. And so it's coming to mind, this starts out pretty early on for most of us, right? Even as young kids in elementary, we're kind of trained early on that we have to wake up by the alarm clock to get ready for school. And, your parents may have rushed you out the door. There was not enough time. You were going to be late. Da, 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 da. I say that to say we get indoctrinated into this like unhealthy relationship with time early on, and it carries on throughout our lives. So again, though, it's a training, and that becomes an idea, that becomes a story, that becomes lived, that becomes what we claim is true. So back up out of the story for a moment. And if you take a deep breath and just let yourself soften and consider your day, think of, tomorrow. Yes, you're going to wake up at whatever time you wake up, but allow yourself to feel relaxed in the idea of getting up rather than feeling the anxiety of like, oh crap, as soon as I wake up tomorrow, there's a laundry list of things to do. We can insert the anxiety before the day even happens, which we tend to do. So again, intentionally take a breath and bring yourself to a state of calm, like reel it in, calm and peace. Yeah. And then allow yourself to have an awareness of the truth of what your day looks like typically. Yeah. So you wake up in the day and you know there's XYZ you have to do. Now, as it goes through your mind, though, I want you to still stand in this energy of calm, of peace, and you're just observing what is typical, what you typically have to do. And as you allow your day to play out in your mind, you may catch points where you are feeling a little bit of anxiety creep in, or you start to feel like, oh crap, the story of time is creeping in. And when you feel that, I want you to just acknowledge, like, yeah, I feel that. And then again, take a breath, reel it in, slow your system back down, and continue to view the day. Now, if you view your day in that state of calm from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed, then I want you to back up and say, where are the spaces in between where I have time to be, do, express, or explore what I love or what I feel called to do? How am I best using my time? Is there a different way that I can arrange my day that gives me the opportunity to look forward to things? How can I be in a different relationship with time where I'm not already expecting my day to be full of stress and anxiety? How can I be in a different relationship with the idea of my day and what's on my list of things to do as part of the journey and exploration of life rather than feeling like overwhelmed? Yeah. So these are questions that we can explore to come into a different intentional relationship with how we are navigating life and how we're navigating our day to day. This will support us in this fiery energy that we're now entering or that we're in at the start of April. I don't remember where I started, why I went in that direction, but whatever, it has led us to the start of April and of Aries season. So Aries is, as I mentioned, the first sign of the zodiac, and it is like coming out of that realm of spirit, which we could think is Pisces, this realm of spirit, this realm before incarnating into body, this realm of connected to all is mind, the awareness that you're one with all there is, right? And now that comes in and that lands into your form, into your body, to the person with the name that you have as you sit, as you are right now. But Aries says, not only are you here, person, we're going to make the most out of this experience. And we got to run around and we're going to try the things and we're going to be excited and curious about it all. And we have the audacity because this breath of life that we were gifted is that it's a gift. So Aries welcomes us into the embodiment of life as an individual, as an individual. Pisces is where we still have that awareness of being one and separate from nothing. Aries boldly and proudly says, but you also came into this realm of duality to have the experience as an individual. So let's enjoy that too. You can still be aware of the teachings from Pisces. You can still be aware that you are separate from no thing. And at the same time, have an awareness that you came in, your soul came to express as the person you are, where you sit right now, and let's make the most of it. Okay, so Aries, ruled by Mars. Mars, as you know, is considered the god of war. And you think of the planets. When I first learned astrology, one of my first astrology teachers would always talk about the planets being the what, right? And the signs are the how. So imagine the planets are what is being expressed, and the sign flavors the expression of how said thing is being expressed. So Mars is the expression of our will, our drive, our action, our anger, how we assert ourselves. It's movement, it's force. how we assert ourselves, how we deal with anger, how we deal with, taking action, getting things done is going to be flavored by the sign that Mars is in at the time of our birth. Now, Mars, this energy, how we assert ourselves, this god of war energy, is what rules Aries, the ram. This energy, I'm just trying to paint a picture for you of this energy, this season, what it's inviting us to recognize and learn about ourselves. So not only is it the childlike wonderment, the audacity of Aries that we are meant to learn and grow through this month, but also to really recognize the relationship we have to how we assert ourselves, how we deal with our anger, how we get things done. Those are the key lessons for us this season. Okay? So, with that in mind, I want you to remember again, last month we were working with the energy of the breathing goddess in the Energetic Alchemist Oracle. And this month we meet her counterpart, the architect. So the breathing goddess and the architect, you can think of them as the yin and the yang of spirit in body. They are the physical manifestation of divine intelligence. Yeah. So this is literally like us being in form, the expressions of our sacred feminine and our sacred masculine, and how the two unify and come into relationship. So if you remember last month with the breathing goddess, the beauty of this sacred feminine is she knows that she's fruitful. She knows that she has access to everything. She's not chasing. She's not trying to force manifestation. She understands that life is created through her, not just the manifestation of like another human. The manifestation of all facets of life are created through you. And the whole idea is not only you realizing you have access to all and can create any and all things, it's to help you to recognize that in your material form, you already have all that is need to create in the material realm. Even the non-physical aspects of you are embodied. So the relationship to the brilliance of your mind, to the frequency, the brilliance, the technology of emotion, to the brilliance, the frequency, the technology of will, drive, determination. All of this, all of your elements are embodied, and therefore she can create all. Life is created through her. All things are. This is one half of the nature of all of our design. Yeah. The other half, the sacred masculine, the architect, he is the foundation. He is the foundation that holds the container of the sacred feminine sturdy while also giving her the inspiration, the life force to take the action. So while she is nurturing all that she is going to birth, all that she's going to create, she is the vessel that holds the sacred flame of inspiration that is going to move through her, given by the architect. Together, they are us. They are the creative force and the creative vessel. Now, this month, we are meant to come into relationship more with the creative force. How are we in relationship to the creative force, to sacred fire? Now, there are different types of fire. There are different types within each element, right? So there's different types of air, different types of water, different types of earth, different types of fire. In astrology, these types of energies are broken up into what are called modes. So there's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Again, if you want more detail, download the app. We'll talk about all of these things. But for now, Aries is considered cardinal fire. The cardinal signs are the signs that initiate us into every season. So Aries just initiated us into spring. Well, in the northern hemisphere, we were just initiated into spring. In summer, the sign of Cancer, cardinal water, will initiate us into summer. In the fall, Libra, cardinal air, will initiate us into autumn. And then in the winter, Capricorn, cardinal earth, will initiate us into winter. So here we are, cardinal fire. This is the beginning of a season, but it is the beginning of the element. It is the strike of the match. It is the beginning of fire. This is why it's like considered playful and I want to say not unpredictable, but spontaneous. It's like a spontaneous, playful, daring, audacious little flame that is like the spark of inspiration. It's going to get things started. Even think about this. We just were initiated into this new season, a season that initiates growth. It's not the peak or the height of growth. That will happen in summer. It is the beginning, the initiation. And again, as I said at the beginning of this, we are all being initiated into new energy, new frequency, and being asked to have the audacity to learn, to explore, and understand what this new frequency, this new lived experience, what it can be, how we can be in relationship to higher frequency, different energies, different ways of being. What does this all mean? So, if you have the Energetic Alchemist Oracle, I always recommend that you pull out the cards related to the energy we're in and see how they relate to you, how they speak to you personally. So, I would still look at the breathing goddess as she is the first half of this puzzle, and then pull out the architect as the completing piece to this puzzle that speak to how we are creative beings in form. All right. So meditate on those, see what comes up for you. Now, the couple of astrological events that are happening this month, there are a ton always. And if you want more detail from the lens of an astrologer, I always recommend that you go to Awakening Airwaves. You can find Awakening Airwaves on, wherever you listen to Reiki radio or on YouTube. Just put in Awakening Airwaves. And on there, there's a show called Astrology with Erin. And every month she does a full astrological breakdown for the energy of the month. So if you really want the details from an astrological lens, check out Astrology with Erin. Okay, I give you a couple of transits and aspects going on in the month that stand out to me. And, I always include the full and new moon because that's just part of what we look at, even in creating with the moon and stars. So if you haven't yet, sign up for my newsletter. When you sign up, you get access to 2 free downloads. One is a class of sorts called Creating with the Moon and Stars, and the other one is a class or a journey called 22 Days of Transformation. But in that, there is some focus on working with the lunations. So with the full moon, the new moon, and other lunar expressions. Well, on the 1st of April, mark your calendar. Not only is it, what do they call that day? April 1st, April Fool's Day. I should have looked that up. I tend to like to look up the origin of things. And I'm sure I've probably some previous year looked up April Fool's Day and saw what it's all about. But we also have the full moon in Libra on April 1st. Now, the thing I love about full moons is the axis, the opposition at hand. So when the moon is full, the sun is in the opposite sign. Or when imagine that the full sun is radiating the fullness of its potential towards the moon. And so the moon is directly across in the opposite sign. So the sun at this time will be in Aries, and the opposite of Aries is Libra. Really imagine like the sun and moon standing across the street from each other, directly across the street from each other. Yeah. And one, again, the sun, which is like the outer expression, the light, what's being illuminated, is in Aries, this fiery, rambunctious intelligence. But on the other side of the street, the moon in her fullness is glowing and is full of the intelligence of Libra. So we have this axis of light and shadow, the inner and the outer self. Now, what Libra and Aries teach us in terms of this inner, this outer axis, this balancing of and unification potentially of opposites. This outer expression of the sun in Aries is saying it's about you. It's about your experience, human, your individuality. You came here to be that person. You came here to learn, to grow, to experience, to lead, to live how you want. You came to experience as you are. You came to share who you are while also learning and coming to understand exactly who you are. Yeah? You. That's that Aries side of the fence. But Libra, which the moon will be in Libra, is like, yeah, but we learn best in relationship to other. Other can hold the mirror steady for us. Other gives us some balance and counterbalance. Other is how we go deeper into understanding who we are. So this dance of sun and moon on the first is really a beautiful invitation to look at what are you full of with that Libra energy? What are you full of? What is stirring inside of you that is speaking to how you are in relationship to other, whether it's romantic, whether it's, partnership, it's friendship, it's whatever kind of ship. How are you in relation to other? And what is illuminating for you around this? What do your relationships teach you or mirror back to you about yourself? What do they show you about your wounds, about your strengths? What do they show you about your needs, your wants, your desires? What do they show you about where you feel comfortable in giving and where you feel comfortable in receiving? What do relationships show you about your resistance in giving and in receiving? Yeah? So it's a beautiful energy to really learn through the illumination of how you are in relationship to other, but more importantly, what it teaches you and what it inspires in you. The other side of the fence, though, is you. So relationship is not fully and totally about them. It's not totally and fully about other. It's also about you. It's about you and other. So this energy as we start and this bold audacity of Aries, you're also being asked, but how are you in relationship to other? And what is that teaching you about you and your journey? Again, if you have the Energetic Alchemist Oracle, this is a great reflection and meditation for the architect and the breathing goddess. Okay. So that is on the first. I put that it's an axis of relational focus on yourself and focus on other. It's even a balance of power and authority, like where you are in your own authority, where you're in your sovereignty, and where you can also be soft enough to allow another to be in their sovereignty at the same time without it being threatening, without it being a tug of war? How do we allow ourselves to be in the fullness of our own expression while honoring others in the fullness of their own expressions? It's a beautiful lesson. Now, I think it's interesting that we start in this because as we go through the month, again, the highlight though is Aries. So the highlight is kind of very focused and centered on you as an individual. Who are you? Who are you being? And are you being true to your way? So it's a nice thing to start with a reflection of you're not the only thing that matters. There's also beauty in the gift of relationship and what it teaches you about this life experience, yeah? And also what you add to it for others. So on April 9th, I point this out, and I don't always talk about Mars going into whatever sign, but remember again, we're in Aries season. Mars is the ruler of Aries. And on the 9th, Mars is going to be in Aries. Just like I said a moment ago, this energy this month, at the beginning of the month, I should specify, the beginning of this month is like striking the match, and you may feel inspired to really get things done. But on the 9th, that's going to be intensified because Mars will be in Aries. And so it's like not only is this warrior energy riding in the essence of one who has this fiery audacity and who wants to lead their life and potentially everyone else. There's a fine line between being productive and, being overbearing or pushing too hard. There's a difference between being in our authority or being authoritarian. Yeah. So this energy, again, it's going to kind of push us into what does it look like when we are in our own cardinal fire? And what does it look like for us to be in the essence of our own warriorship, so to speak? How do we live and land in this energy when it is so palpable, this fire? Yeah. Mars and Aries, it's going to be in this for 6 weeks. So 6 weeks, keep in mind, you are not the only one who is going to be feeling this kind of spicy. Okay. So don't be surprised if you encounter other people in their spiciness and have some understanding around it. How do you best navigate this? Yeah. But how do you best manage it within yourself? It is going to feel very fearless. It's going to feel like unapologetic. This is that energy where you're like, you know what? I know what I want to do and I'm going to do it. You're not asking for permission. You're not seeking validation necessarily. It's just this knowing of like this drive, this inspiration, this fearlessness of I am going to do XYZ. It is inspiration that knows no boundary. It is inspiration that has no restriction. And again, this can be quite powerful, but it can also be a bit too much. So you really want to make sure that you direct and channel and manage this level of fire and inspiration appropriately, mindfully. This energy, again, you're not the only one that will be feeling it. So also consider, like I said before, Mars points to how we either assert ourselves or how aggressive we can be. So be mindful of that too. How are you getting things done? There's a fine line again about being assertive, but not being aggressive and ineffective in that approach. This architect, the card of the month, the architect is about that strategic planning, using your fire wisely. Because your fire, I mean, you can use this kind of energy to lead in a bold way, lead and garner respect for your audacity and living in your authenticity. Yeah, it's bold and it can be admired, But if it's pushed too far, now you've gone out of admiration and you've gone into bully. Yeah. So you really want to be mindful of how you use this kind of energy. Now, what I noticed, and even right now, even in the end of March, there are several planets in the sign of Aries. But on the 9th, we have Mars, Neptune, Saturn, the Sun, and Chiron are all in Aries. So again, we start out this month in a very kind of fiery essence. You may be feeling like you're making plans. All of a sudden, you're adding stuff to your calendar. All of a sudden, you have the ideas. You know what you want to do. You have the direction. It's not odd. But I would say don't write everything in ink. Write some of these down. Be mindful of taking it one step at a time. What is the structure around this? Okay? You're laying new ground, but you want still a sturdy foundation. You want to take these inspirations, yes, but be mindful and wise in how you use them. Now, we'll get a little more into that energy that will support us later in the month, but I just want you to start thinking of that even as we begin. Now, on the 14th of April, Mercury, the planet that is associated with how we think, how we process thought, and how we communicate, will also be moving into Aries. And that will be in Aries until the 2nd of May. But on that day, then we have Mercury, Neptune, Mars, the Moon, Saturn, the Sun, and Chiron all in Aries. But with Mercury coming into this grouping, this is a time of mental breakthrough. This is like the mind is going out of that dreamy, watery Piscean energy, very creative, kind of fluid. How do I feel about things? How am I imagining? What is the vibe? It's transitioning now where the mind is going to go, yep, take all of that and now let's put it into action. Yeah. Like let's make these dreams a reality. Let's put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. There are mental breakthroughs. This is where the mind gets very active. And for some, this can bring a lot of clarity. Again, you may want to fill up your calendar all of a sudden. But again, be mindful of these inspirations and how you really work with this energy. So you can be inspired, but you don't necessarily want to be too impulsive. You can be inspired and something may feel and sound really good right now. We may have some refining to do along the way. So just have that in mind. Like whatever you're being inspired by, be smart in how you're working with this energy, how you're planning, how you're going to navigate it, how you're going to structure it. But also keep in mind the flexibility that things may change along the way. Okay, just know that for yourself up front, but enjoy the mental breakthroughs. Now, a few days later, on the 17th, we move into the new moon. I feel like this new moon is all about ambition, okay? You could just write on your calendar, ambition, because this new moon is in Aries. This is the energy that says this new beginning, again, it's about you. Make it about you. Unapologetically, it is about you. What new intentions do you want to set that serve you, that satisfy you? What is it that you're pouring into for your benefit that really satisfies you? It makes me think of, it's coming to mind. I said this year was going to be that for me in a lot of ways. I am personally moving into, wait, let me just make sure I'm telling the truth. I was going to say I'm moving into a universal, no, it is a universal year one this year. So that's why I've been saying, a lot of alignment, personal alignment is going to be amplified this year. But I even have noticed personally recognizing the need to take more time to pour into myself. I love being of service. I love teaching classes. I love having sessions. I love working with others. But last year, for example, I took on a lot. I said yes to a lot of things. And in doing that, while I enjoyed it and I learned a lot, I did not leave a lot of room for my personal study, the things that I love that just pour into me and have nothing to do with, so to speak, anyone else. So I made it an absolute that this year I was leaving room to pour back into myself. That's what this type of new moon is about. Like, what intention can you set? What commitment can you make that allows you to pour into you unapologetically, that allows you to say, I am worth the investment. Again, write on your calendar, ambition. What does it mean to pour into my ambition? What seeds do I have to plant? What do I have to have the audacity to say yes to that will support my personal goals, my personal needs and desires? You are possible in all things. That's what this energy is inviting you to really like claim. You, everything you want is attainable and possible. Just now we got to make some plans around how you're going to be in relationship to the development of that. Again, I would redirect you to the architect card, read the description of the card in the guidebook, but also meditate on the card and see what comes through for you personally. All right. So the last piece, astrologically speaking, that I wanted to point out about this month is on the 19th, because this is when the sun moves into Taurus. So I kept saying this fiery energy, be mindful of how you use it. Taurus energy is going to take this fire and help it to calm down and to, again, have some consideration and mindfulness of how we're using such an energy to be more constructive rather than destructive. So the sun moves into Taurus. And interestingly, the breathing goddess and the architect, he is Aries energy and she is Taurus energy. This movement of the sun into Taurus brings us down into fixed earth. This is where we're not just bopping around high off of inspiration, but rather we settle down, take a seat, and realize we really need a plan. We need to get we have to be more methodical here. We have to feel into what makes the most sense. We have to make sure that any decisions we're making and what we're doing is in line with our values. This is where we take that Aries energy and we kind of like let it simmer down, simmer down so that we can have more clarity and understanding about all that we have recently been inspired by. This energy isn't so serious though. I mean, like while it slows us down, it gets a little more earthy, it gets us a little more connected, more tuned in to our inspiration. It also welcomes us into how does the work of getting to know myself, how does the work of living and having audacity, how does this Aries energy then translate into what brings me comfort, what brings me pleasure, what it is that I enjoy in a more sensual kind of way. This energy says, stop running through the garden so quickly, Aries, and stop and not just smell the flowers, but admire the bloom, study the thorns. Be at a different level of awareness here. So we will calm down moving into this energy on the 19th of April. And Taurus is ruled by Venus. So where Aries is ruled by Mars, the warrior, Taurus is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love and pleasure. So, it's making me think of, I think it was like in the 80s or 90s, some guy got very famously known for writing a book about men being from Mars and women being from Venus. And it's funny because in these cards, again, the architect is from Aries, he is from Mars, and the breathing goddess is Venusian, she is from Venus. Anyway, we're going to really get a chance as the baton is being passed, so to speak, or the sun is just starting to move into Taurus. We'll get an opportunity to dance in both of these energies, to see how Aries really kind of set us up for Taurus, but how Taurus can really refine and help us work with that Aries energy in a different kind of way as we move deeper into just Taurus season. And we'll talk more about Taurus season next month when we get into the energy of May. So that is all for this month. I mean, I guess what I would say is just be mindful of the type of spiritual warrior you are being. Be aware of the way you are initiating fire, excitement, inspiration into your life this month. Recognize the ways that your inspiration and how you are changing these new energies, these new frequencies, how you are not only working through them, but what they are revealing to you about you. And then, of course, because we're so seeped into Aries, we are going to learn a lot of the lessons on the opposite side of the street, Libra. So, a lot of relationship energy may really highlight for you this month, and you want to have that awareness again. What is this teaching me? How does being in relationship to anything outside of myself reveal something to me about myself? What are these mirrors reflecting back to me? How am I learning? How am I evolving? Now, the last thing I want to say, I just want to emphasize again, and I will continue, I'm sure, emphasizing throughout this year, energies are changing. We are going through a collective activation. This is a time of significant change. A lot of people are feeling it. You may not be able to articulate it, but you don't have to. Frequency doesn't need our language, okay? It is experienced, and we can understand when we're quiet enough and stop thinking and trying to figure out what it means and allow ourselves to feel and experience what it all means. What is changing within you and how? And how is it contributing to your new way of understanding, your new personal evolution and growth? These are the things I think are so important for us to be really exploring and talking about. So I invite you to join me for free conversations every month. Every month throughout this year, I am doing Reiki roundtable conversations on the first Monday of every month. You don't have to be a Reiki practitioner. We're not even going to only talk about Reiki, but we are going to talk about energy, and we will talk about your practice, and we will deep dive into frequency and what this all really means. So if you want to join me for those conversations, download the Energetic Alchemist app today. If you have an Apple phone, an iPhone, go to the Apple App Store, type in the Energetic Alchemist, download the app. If you have an Android, go to Google Play, type in the Energetic Alchemist, download the app. You create a free account on the app with your email address, a password. Keep your password safe somewhere because I cannot give it to you if you lose it. So save your password somewhere that you will remember. And when you log in, you will see you have access to a lot of free content, including a section that says Reiki Conversations. That's where you go to join me. The Zoom links are there to join me for free conversations. We can talk about energy work, your practice, and again, frequency, all of these things, the first Monday of the month. So in April, you can mark your calendar. We will be meeting on April 6th. So April 6th, mark your calendar. We will be meeting for conversation. Now, the second one is called the Seeker Circle. And typically the Seeker Circle is the second Sunday of the month. But this month only, well, not only, but in the month of April, it's actually going to be the third Sunday. So it'll be the 19th. So put on your calendar April 6th and April 19th. Those are the 2 days if you want to join me for free conversations. Again, the links to join are on the app for the Reiki Roundtable and the Seeker Circle. So download the app, get the links. I will see you and we will go into depth about all of this. The last month, I think at the roundtable is where we spoke about Enkaku, performing remote Reiki sessions. And of course, if you know me, if you've ever worked with me, you know I'm very experiential. So I did a guided experience. So we talked about it and then we practiced. And then during the seeker circle, we spoke about symbols and attuning. And so there was a big discussion around what it means to be in attunement or to receive attunement, and also working with the symbols and being in relationship to them, embodying them beyond what some may have learned in Reiki class. So we did that and we did exercises around that as well. So I say that to say, be sure to come live because they are not recorded. If you don't come live, then you just missed the whole conversation and experience. You can be from any lineage of Reiki, any level. Yeah, just come ready to practice and with an open mind. Things are shifting and changing, and it is important for us to understand how to navigate, again, what we are evolving into, but also how to translate energy and frequency and what this all means. It's very important at this time for so many reasons. And we'll talk about it in these events that I just mentioned. That aside, if you ever want to know what I have upcoming, every now and again, I will teach a class online. Sometimes I teach, classes in person, typically just Reiki classes I teach in person. But if you ever want to know what I have upcoming, if you want to come learn from me, you want to make sure you are signed up for the newsletter because you'll always know what is upcoming, what is new, including some classes that are facilitated by other teachers and practitioners. So it's not just sharing my work. I love sharing the work of others as well. And yeah, so be sure to tune in to Reiki Radio. Any new episodes you need to catch up on, be sure to check out Awakening Airwaves. There are several beautiful teachers and practitioners sharing insights and various lenses of modalities over there. Yeah, there's a lot. A lot is percolating, but we can get through this together. We can continue to learn, evolve, grow, and explore together. So again, take a breath. Take a breath because I really do think, and maybe we'll talk about this in the roundtable this month. I really do think it's going to be important that we also renegotiate our relationship to time and how we're experiencing that. So again, come back to the breath, slow down a bit, gain some clarity, and be really honest with how you are using and navigating your journey day to day, how you're using your energy at this time. Okay, make it count. I hope you have a gorgeous month. I will see you soon. Bye for now.